Welcome and thank you for joining me here at Film Pro Productivity. Each week I introduce concepts that film professionals and other creatives can use to make life easier and avoid creative burnout. I also present time management and lifestyle hacks for a more focused, effective and happy life. My name is Carter Ferguson and this is episode 25, 6 free productivity extensions for Google Chrome. As last season's 5 free apps to make you more productive episode was so incredibly popular, I thought that I'd continue with a couple of episodes in this season on similar themes. Today I will present 6 awesome free extensions for Google Chrome. But before I get into that though, last week's show looked at toxic people and how their negatively charged behaviours can disrupt your life and work and ultimately destroy your productivity and your love for life. These toxic personality types included energy vampires that suck the life force from you, control freaks that make your life a misery by trying to control what you say, what you do, and even what you think. And then there are the manipulators who also try to control you, but this time with underhand tactics and techniques like shaming, guilting, and gaslighting. I highlighted what to watch out for with these sorts of people and ultimately how to deal with them. If you missed it, I strongly advise that you go back and check it out. Now, please feel free to get in touch and let me know how you're getting on with these calls to action that I keep giving you on each episode. And also, if you have a moment, please go to the contact page and message me to let me know what you're struggling with in your own life and work. I'm very interested in what productivity techniques you're adopting and what matters you are struggling with, as if I can get a grip on your real-life problems, I can tailor future episodes to tackle them. Remember that as a solo podcaster, I have to come up with all of the content that you hear here, and your suggestions for future shows, especially as I near the end of this season and I'm starting to think about the next, would be most welcome. And if you've missed any of the shows, please also remember that every episode already released can be accessed directly via filmproproductivity.com or on any number of the free podcasting apps that are out there. Now, some people say that they can run their business from their phone, and it's undeniable that the power we have with cell phones, or mobile phones as we call them here in the UK, is significant. But as a regular organiser of film productions and as a filmmaker, a podcaster and a producer, I simply can't operate without a computer. I use computers every single day because without them, I'd find it near impossible to create, communicate and coordinate. Today, everything that I will be recommending is connected specifically to Google Chrome, although you might find that some of these extensions are available on other browsers. In regard to Google Chrome though, that browser is available completely free for both Mac and PC, and even has versions which work on Android, iOS and Linux. I recommend Google Chrome over all other web browsers though for 5 good reasons. Firstly, it will load web pages, multiple tabs and applications with lightning speed, and it is designed to be the fastest web browser available. It also allows you to type both searches and web addresses straight into the address bar, which Google incidentally calls the Omnibox, and this in itself increases your speed and efficiency. Secondly, it's clean and simple. The Omnibox I mentioned a second ago and multi-tabbed browsing makes navigating the web really very easy. Also, when you close Chrome, it will remember the tabs you had open so that you can pick up right where you left off when you next start it. Chrome also comes equipped with a built-in PDF viewer which you can use to print, resize and save PDFs. Thirdly, and this might be a question that's in your mind, I recommend it for security and privacy reasons. Chrome keeps you safe and sound with its built-in malware and phishing protection. It's also got safe browsing technology and will show you a warning message before you visit a site that is suspicious. Chrome also automatically updates, so you always have the latest and most up-to-date version. And it does it really subtly. It doesn't interrupt your flow like some Windows-specifically updates can do. Other browsers do have some of these functionalities, but I don't think there's any others that have all of these functionalities. So I'll continue with number 4. If you are sharing a computer with other people, you can add multiple users to keep your own bookmarks, apps and extensions separate. Also, anything that you update on one device will instantly update everywhere else that you sign into the Chrome browser. And once you sign in, you decide what it is that you want to sync. It's incredibly efficient, and as someone that's used many, many browsers over the years, I can assure you that Google Chrome is simply incredible for your productivity. The final reason, the reason I'm talking about it today, is because Google Chrome is extremely customizable. You can use the Chrome Web Store to add apps, extensions and themes. And of course, it is extensions that I'm specifically talking about today. But first things first, what exactly are Google extensions? Well, extensions are basically just small software programs that customize the Chrome browser. These small pieces of software, these extensions, once installed by you, appear as small icons on the Google Chrome browser bar, and you simply click the icon when you want to use it. They really are very simple to use. And an extension must fulfill a single purpose that is narrowly defined and easy to understand. A single extension can include multiple components though, and a range of functionality, as long as everything contributes towards a common purpose. All Google Chrome extensions are published to the Chrome Web Store, and I will provide links to everything that I talk about here in the show notes. New York Times Bestselling author and teacher of Buddhist meditation practices, Sharon Salzberg, said, "Distraction wastes our energy. Concentration restores it." And the first extension that I will recommend is one that will kill all those distracting websites that you might find yourself on occasion, but only for 30 minutes. And it's called Forest. The full name is actually Forest. Stay focused. Be present. Now, there's a ton of these sort of anti-distraction extensions out there, but this is the one that I like to use, and it has never failed me. Like most of the others, it's based on a time management system called the Pomodoro technique, which was developed by Francesco Cirillo in the late 1980s. That technique uses a timer to break down work into intervals, traditionally I think 25 minutes in length, separated by short breaks. Forest uses that principle and provides an interesting solution to save you from internet addiction. Basically, you set it up by typing in the websites that most often distract you. For reference, my blacklisted sites are YouTube, Gumtree, eBay, Twitter, Facebook, and Reddit. Once you've set that up with your own custom list, you're all set to go. It sits like any other extension in your browser bar, and when you feel you need to work without distractions, you just click it. When that happens, a pop-up appears to indicate that you have planted a virtual seed in the Forest app, or Forest extension, I should call it, and over the next 30 minutes, that seed will gradually grow into a tree. During the next 30 minutes, you will be blocked from visiting those sites, and if you decide to override it, the little tree will start to wither away and die. With this interesting mechanism, your own sense of achievement and responsibility are kind of pushed to the front, and they drive you to stay away from the distractions with no real pain. It's a self-motivated and interesting method to help you beat the internet addiction, and it helps you to cultivate, literally, your personal pattern of time management by making good use of the 30-minute chunks of time to fully concentrate on your work and finish it effectively. Hans Hofmann said, "The ability to simplify means to eliminate the unnecessary so that the necessary may speak." Next on my list is an extension called Just Read. This is an incredibly useful extension which does one thing and does it well. It simplifies web pages. It removes the ads, pictures and other distractions from whatever website you're on and just shows you the text in an easy to read and well laid out format. When you click this extension, you remove distractions like the page's styling, ads, pop-ups and comments, and can read the article in a customizable, simplified format, like a read mode but better. No login is required, and again, it is completely free. Another thing that it does, which they don't advertise though, is that it makes locked text on a website available to copy. And as someone who likes to chuck the occasional quote into a podcast, that means that I can copy and paste the text into my podcast notes. "Simplicity is the soul of efficiency," said Austin Freeman. And I can easily repeat that here as I use Just Read to simplify the page that I stole it from. It's a really useful extension, and that's why it is number 2 in my list here. And this list, by the way, is in no particular order. Number 3 on that list, and I also rated it highly in my Useful Apps episode, is the Pocket extension. I love Pocket in all its forms. It's basically a way of bookmarking or saving your favourite articles, videos, etc. for later reference. Basically, when you find something in Chrome that you want to view later, you put it in Pocket. That involves just clicking the Pocket button on your browser bar. It then automatically syncs that saved page to your phone, tablet, or other computers so that you can view it at any time, even without an internet connection. You can add tags to it, and Pocket will even suggest recommended related content, which if you're researching a podcast, for example, is really kind of useful. It's completely free, but you can upgrade anytime to premium for the more, I think they call it the more powerful Pocket experience. I'd say that if you use Pocket regularly, then you need to put a little bit of time aside each week, though, to catch up on what you've stuffed in there along the way. But don't worry, unless you delete it, you will be able to access your Pocket saves indefinitely. One last thing that I'll add, though, is that when you click to view your Pocket list, it gives you previews of everything that you've saved. So unlike in a bookmarks or favourites folder, you can find what you're looking for very quickly. It's a fast, efficient, and really totally awesome Google Chrome extension. Next up is an extension called OneTab. Albert Einstein said, "Out of clutter, find simplicity." And that's exactly what this extension will do for your browser. If you find yourself with too many open tabs, as I do quite often, you just click the OneTab icon to convert all of your tabs into a list, a single tab list. Then when you need to access the tabs again, you can either restore them individually or all at once. It's really useful, especially if you're midway through researching something and want to ensure that it's all there the next time you come to work on it. I mean, the Google Chrome setup will, when you shut it down, will open up with the same tabs you previously had open. But if you're researching something and maybe you go off and do another job for a few days, I'll likely go off and do some fights, and then I'll come back perhaps to the podcast I was working on, I can just load in using OneTab the previously used tabs I had maybe a week before. I should say that the information about your tabs is never transmitted or disclosed to the OneTab developers. Not that they particularly care what I was researching, but somebody out there might be worried about this sort of thing. The exception to this is, though, if you intentionally click the Share as a Web Page feature, that allows you to upload your list of tabs into a web page in order to share them with others. Tabs are never shared, though, unless you specifically use the Share as a Web Page button. OneTab is one of those really functional yet simple add-ons that you never knew you needed. I absolutely love it. Next on my list of productivity extensions is one called Moment. And following along with the theme of simplicity, all this really does is give a clean and modern look to your default Chrome homepage. When you call up a new tab, it comes up not as a default Google search page, but as a simpler and more appealing page which you have customized. With this extension, you can either turn an image of your own into a background for the new tabs or choose from a selection of high-res photos and videos from its recommendations. This will become your default Google background image. It's basically just a desktop background for your browser. I use a video which it offered up of a stream running through a forest, and it's just a nicer, more pleasant way to interact with the browser. In the top right-hand corner of your new browser page, it has a hub icon, and when that is pressed, it offers you the choice of reopening recent pages or bookmarks or sessions, and you can also access via another tab any number of apps that you have chosen from a full list when you set it up. Finally, it offers a to-do list, which I don't use as I already use another to-do list app called Todoist, which is also one of my very regularly used Chrome extensions, by the way, but I don't want to talk about it here. And lastly, it gives an option to use an on-screen note-taking app, which occasionally comes in handy. The main reason I have this, though, is just for the calming image and simple customizable tabs which it offers. It might not make you that much more productive, in all honesty, but it will maybe make you a little bit happier and a little bit calmer along the way. As the Dalai Lama says, calm mind brings inner strength and self-confidence. That's very important for good health. And so the final extension that I want to talk about here, I have more, but let's not get carried away. The 6th extension is Grammarly. Grammarly offers a host of features that are incredibly helpful in editing any writing, whether it's a social media post, a call sheet, a script, or a novel, and it's free. It's free. Incidentally, and I'm obviously talking about Chrome here, but I believe it can be installed in any browser that's out there. And basically what it does is it automatically checks any writing that you do. For example, if I go into my inbox for Gmail, it will mark up mistakes on my emails. Or if you fill in forms online or write in a browser, it will also spot those mistakes. Whatever you're doing, it will scan the whole document for any mistake, and that includes grammatical, punctuation, and spelling errors. Anyone can use it anywhere, but it does require users to be connected to the internet so that it can properly identify these mistakes. It then informs the writer of the document what steps can be taken to improve the writing, and it's up to the user whether they heed that advice or ignore it. Adding Grammarly to Chrome means that your spelling and grammar will be vetted on Gmail, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Tumblr, and nearly everywhere else that you write in the web. It's also kind of cool because it's a contextual spelling checker which detects correctly spelled words used though in the wrong context. It can also fix hundreds of complex grammatical errors, including subject-verb agreement, article use, and modifier placement. And it does this basically by highlighting these bits of text, and when you hover over it, it gives you options which you can choose to ignore or choose to accept. It's really unobtrusive, to be honest. Basically what it does for me is it gives me just a little bit more confidence in what I'm sending out there. I'm constantly working on my own to create new content, and I can scan a document 10 times and still miss a really obvious mistake. Having Grammarly installed is like having a second set of eyes on what you're writing, and the suggestions that it makes are usually, to be honest, really excellent. But you don't necessarily need to take my word for it. Forbes magazine says Grammarly quickly and easily makes your writing better and makes you sound like a pro, or at least helps you to avoid looking like a fool. And the Harvard Business Review said, good grammar is instrumental in conveying ideas with clarity, professionalism, and precision. Good grammar is simply good business. Douglas Adams said, we are stuck with technology when what we really want is just stuff that works. Well, the technology that I list here today in the sense of extensions does just work, and I encourage you to try it. And I could list 5 or 6 other Google extensions off the top of my head, but I think the 6 that I've listed here will just do for now. If you find yourself very often working online like I do, or working through a web browser where you access your working email, etc., then these extensions will make life easier, more productive, and perhaps a little bit more pleasant for you. A link to every Chrome extension that I've talked about here and a full transcript of this episode is available at filmproproductivity.com and may appear on your podcasting apps too. Please be aware though that some of the podcasting apps that you use will remove the links that I set in the original when it distributes through the RSS feed. So if you want to guarantee that they will be there, go to the official website, filmproproductivity.com, which I've got full control of. And your call to action this week is to load the extensions one at a time and try them out and see if they work for you. They're all free, although some have got some in-app or in-extension purchases which can be used to expand their capabilities. I myself, though, do use the free versions. With all technology, you'll have to spend a few minutes getting to know what it offers, so I'd strongly suggest that you do try them one at a time. If they work for you, then great. But if they're not your cup of tea, it's as easy as right-clicking them on your Chrome browser and tapping Remove from Chrome to make them disappear forever. On next week's episode, I will be talking about why keeping up with the Joneses or lusting after the next big piece of technology is a really bad habit to get into. And I think I'm going to call that one something like shoot with what you've got. It's certainly a good adage to have if you're a filmmaker listening to this. And I'm going to end today's show with the words of Nicholas Negroponte. He said, "Computing is not about computers anymore. It's about living." So with that said, take control of your own destiny, keep on shooting, and join me next time on Film Pro Productivity. The music that you are listening to right now is Adventures by Ehimitsu. You can view the show notes for this episode at filmproproductivity.com. If you're struggling with something you think I can help with or would like to tell me how you're getting on, then please get in touch via the contact page on the website. Alternately, you can follow the show on Twitter at FilmProProdPod or on Facebook at FilmProProductivity. Please support the show by subscribing, leaving an awesome review and spreading the word. If you can get just one new person to tune in, I would really appreciate it. See you next week.